Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you, July 22nd, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride home, and there's actually a lot to get into. A death in the royal family, and we're also going to cover Shia LaBeouf and the settlement he reached with his ex-girlfriend, who's represented by Brian Friedman. We've also got Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, as we have a content creator, a YouTuber, really just knocking it out of the park in their response after being subpoenaed unjustly by Blake Lively. And then more on Epstein, as the Department of Justice is now trying to get in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, what's the problem? Go to her prison, right? And Trump, confronted with this, actually finds out for the first time that they are now talking to Ghislaine. Yikes. Oh boy, it's getting interesting. And also, the House of Representatives decides to take an extended vacation so they don't have to vote on releasing the Epstein files. We are here to cover all these stories and more. It all starts right now on The Rush. And how about this first story? No one told me this. This broke a few days ago. Dylan Dreyer, my favorite meteorologist, Dylan Dreyer from the Today Show, announced a split from husband Brian after 12 years of marriage. I didn't see that in the forecast. She said, for many years, I've shared my family with you all. The highs and lows, the ups and the downs, all of the blessings and beautiful memories in between. So there it is, no longer together. Dylan Dreyer back on the market. How about her for the next Bachelorette, right? I don't know. I'd watch it. Prince William and Prince Harry, their cousin's death has been revealed to be a traumatic head injury, which is really a sad story. Their 20-year-old cousin, Rosie Roach, died from a traumatic head injury found in her home in England last week, and the cause of death was reported Tuesday by multiple British news outlets, citing the Wiltshire and Swindon coroner. William and Harry's cousin was the grandchild of Princess Diana's uncle, and her dead body was reportedly discovered by her mother and sister, and a gun was found nearby. Oh, tragic story coming out of the royal family there. All right, well, from one kind of tough story to another, Shia LaBeouf settles his sexual battery suit with his ex, FKA Twigs. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, FKA Twigs. So he was being sued by her. She's represented by Brian Friedman. They decided to settle it out of court. I'm sure he had to pay a hefty amount of money. And, rightfully so. You don't settle things like this unless you did something wrong. So he is no stranger to a very troubled career. And again, I don't know all the details, so I shouldn't comment any further. But they've decided to do a settlement, which means she can no longer sue him. And again, because what's the point of going through some lengthy lawsuit? If he admits to it privately, pays you some money, it's like you go on with your day, versus dragging it out and spending a ton of money. But again, everyone can do what they want. Some people want justice through the court system. Some people want it outside the court system. How about this? A new video shows a Delta passenger jet banking as it took evasive action during a mid-air close call with a B-52 bomber. Oh my gosh.
This morning, federal investigators now working to find out just how close a Delta passenger jet and a U.S. B-52 bomber came from colliding over the skies of North Dakota.
The 69 Bomb Squadron Night Bombs.
New video showing that B-52 doing a flyover at the North Dakota State Fair. Seconds later, you see that Delta regional jet cross the B-52's trail.
So my guess is they're a mile apart, but either way, whether it's a mile apart or 10 feet apart, they need to figure this out. Clearly, the B-52 there is part of some, air show. Tough week for Delta. I didn't even cover this story yesterday, but there was a Delta jet that was on fire. So again, whether it's Delta or Spirit Airlines, nobody's safe in the skies. I didn't cover this story, though, and I did want to mention it. Cosby Show alum Malcolm Jamal Warner, dead at 54. He, I think, passed away yesterday or over the weekend. Now they're saying it was an accidental drowning due to a rip current. He was vacationing in the Caribbean with his daughter, and that's just a terrible story. Another individual was injured in the incident. They were vacationing in Costa Rica. Real sad stuff there. They recognized that there was distress happening right away, and still he went down and CPR couldn't save him. So very tragic story. Drowning must be the worst. Sorry to start on so many sort of really bummer stories here. Let's lighten the load with this one. Donald Trump now is threatening Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, saying they will be axed next after Colbert. Here's what he truthed. The word is, and it's a strong word at that, Jimmy Kimmel is next to go in the untalented late night sweepstakes, and shortly thereafter, Fallon will be gone. These are people with absolutely no talent who are paid millions of dollars for, in all cases, destroying what used to be great television. It's really good to see them go, and I hope I played a major part in it. Yikes. What an unhinged madman. Now listen, I hate when people say, oh, so-and-so is not talented. It's like, listen, these people, I mean, they do a live show, 4 or 5 nights a week? You have no idea what goes into their job as writers, performers, and everything in between. So to say someone's not talented, it's like, look, say you don't think they're funny, you don't like their sense of humor, whatever, but they're definitely at the top of their game. You know, there's only been a handful of people that have hosted successful late night talk show. Anyway, you get the point. So I always reject that. It's always unfunny people. Like Donald Trump's interesting, right? He can be funny, but he has no sense of humor. And by that, I mean, he can say funny things, but he can never laugh at, like no one's ever seen him laugh, which I think is very egotistical, that you don't want to show other people that you don't want to cede power in a situation, because whoever's making the room laugh is kind of the person in control. And he doesn't, I guess, like to cede power in that way. Very bizarre. Do you remember that time a couple months ago where someone actually accidentally hit him in the head with a boom microphone? Like they had a boom mic and their like elbow kind of hit and it knocked him in the head. I feel like in any other situation, you would laugh at that and you just looked at the person. And it's like, bro, you just got knocked in the head with a boom mic. Smile or something. All right, so either way, Jimmy Kimmel responded and said, I'm hearing you're next. That being Trump, getting axed. Or maybe it's just another wonderful secret. So it's getting ugly out there, folks. Jimmy Fallon, John Oliver, Seth Meyers, and Jon Stewart all showed up to Stephen Colbert's show to show solidarity after CBS canceled it. By the way, that's a lot of white men. It's a lot of white men in late night TV. So there they are, sitting in the audience, just there to support, and understand that, say what you want about the late night canceling of Stephen Colbert, but the fact that it came several days after, I don't know, I don't buy that it wasn't politically motivated, and they're trying to make the claim, no, the show was losing a lot of money, and it's like, yeah, I don't know about that. Meanwhile, Paramount just bought the rights to South Park for like $1 billion. So are they broke or are they not broke? Which one is it, But either way, let's move on from there. Pro Baldoni YouTuber targeted by Blake Lively in invasive subpoena reveals ironic financial link to Ryan Reynolds. Boy, that's a title by Josh Boswell for Daily Mail. Now, this is very interesting, right? Because you've got Blake Lively sending subpoenas to all these content creators. We covered it this morning ad nauseum, some might say. And it's, been relatively exposed, pretty easily exposed, that Blake Lively and her legal team created a scenario where there was a conspiracy that didn't actually exist. And by that, I mean, none of these content creators are getting paid by Justin Baldoni. And Blake, whether it's through her own delusion or trying to manufacture a situation that doesn't exist. Maybe it's, the law of attraction, The Secret. She's trying to will a conspiracy into existing. But I think it's probably more just her being in denial that all these people kind of would not like her. She thinks it's coordinated. Either way, it's a fascinating story. The small-time YouTuber has hit back in a court filing after Blake Lively subpoenaed her bank details, accusing the Gossip Girl star of pursuing desperate and paranoid tactics and submitting an official complaint against the actress's lawyers. Lively claimed throughout her ongoing legal battle that co-star Justin Baldoni paid influencers to smear her following the premiere of the domestic violence drama film It Ends With Us. But in an ironic twist, pro-Baldoni YouTuber Cassidy O'Connell says the only money she has received is from ads on her videos starring Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds. Oh boy. Twist the knife, why don't you? And by this is so funny. And, to call Cassidy O'Connell a pro-Baldoni YouTuber, it's like, is it pro-Baldoni or is it there's no evidence, to back any of her claims? You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say I'm a pro-Baldoni YouTuber, but I would say I believe his side more than hers. Miss Lively And here's her statement. Miss Lively, who still cannot accept that the criticism against her online is completely organic and of her own making, has made yet another move guaranteed to make matters far worse for her reputation by lashing out at content creators on social media. And by the way, in what world would it benefit Justin Baldoni to pay content creators to smear Blake Lively? He was producing a movie with Blake Lively. He didn't want her to be unlikable. He wanted her to thrive for the sake of the movie, right? So this makes no sense. Some of the content creators told Daily Mail they believe Lively is trying to prove a conspiracy that her legal nemesis Baldoni paid them to produce negative content about her, which they deny. Cassidy continued, Miss Lively herself makes a compelling argument that individuals have a constitutional right to privacy regarding their financial information. Miss Lively appears to recognize the basic elements of privacy rights that individuals are entitled to, despite her attempts to pierce the rights others are equally entitled to. The YouTuber who makes videos dissecting court documents in celebrity cases and prominent criminal prosecutions said she had already been the victim of a stalker and assault and that she was terrified Lively would leak her private information, putting her in harm's way. Plaintiff's counsel has an established history in this case of improper redaction and filings and have exposed the home addresses of every Wayfair defendant. Here's where it gets interesting. She kind of explains the way that YouTube works. We are paid by AdSense according to ads run on our channel. Ironically enough, Mint Mobile often runs ads on my channel featuring their spokesperson, Ryan Reynolds. So if I've been paid directly or indirectly by anyone involved in this case, it's former party Ryan Reynolds. Reynolds stars in Mint Mobile commercials and owns a reported $300 million stake until the company stake in the company until 2023. The subpoena to Google asked for O'Connell's address, bank details, subscriber info, all that stuff we know is just way too far. Her response is absolutely wild. And again, Cassidy O'Connell, it says here, has 16,000 subscribers. Her response was submitted without a lawyer. It just goes to show that you can fight these big guys, very David versus Goliath style. So how funny is that? I love when we get wit from the internet that sort of parlays and smacks these celebrities in the behind. And here's my overall thoughts with the Blake Lively stuff as far as we stand right now. You see Blake Lively as this like multi-millionaire. She gets glammed up. She has a stylist for her deposition. She's this just ball of energy and everyone don't make eye contact with her. She's the star of the show. And then you get someone like Cassidy O'Donnell, who's living her life, doing her own thing, and not taking any shit from anybody. And who's like a more valuable person? Blake Lively or Cassidy O'Connell? Sorry, did I say O'Donnell? O'Connell. And it's like, well, how about they're both human beings having a human experience? And Cassidy, she's just trying to get by. You know, she's got 20,000 YouTube subscribers. She's trying to, make it in her own world and be honest and authentic and reliable to her base and all of this. And Blake Lively, like, she doesn't want to live in a world where anyone has an opinion about her that's anything but favorable. So when I see this, it actually, for me, this whole lawsuit has stripped away celebrity. It has stripped away this aura of like and it's really, we all exist with different opportunities in life that are given to us. Blake Lively comes from a very, talented acting family, right? She's like part of that industry, and she clearly doesn't appreciate what she has because she earned it at a young age, or I say earned, but she's had success since she's hit puberty essentially. And then you've got YouTubers who are pretty blue collar folks that have had to really work hard for everything they've gotten in life, and their loyalty to their audience is always so obvious because we'd be nothing without the people that want to watch us. So, we're so grateful for the likes, the subscribes, the super chats, the Patreons, just whenever we're mentioned. And then you've got Blake Lively, who just cannot understand a world where she's not the hot shit. And this is what I love about the rise of content creating. It's what I love about the rise of the internet, really, is that it gives everybody a voice. If you're out there and you want to get into the internet, it's not too late. You want to get into YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Everyone's got a voice worth sharing. And you're not going to be, just like I'm not going to be, just like Cassidy O'Connell's not going to be, silenced one bit. All right, speaking of not being silenced one bit. When we come back, we've got a lot of updates on the Jeffrey Epstein files. You're not going to want to miss it. That's coming right after this.